From the moment the arena lights went out last night, there was a weird tension in the air. You could feel it. The kind of tension that makes your skin crawl. The crowd wasn't sure if they were about to witness history, or a complete train wreck. What no one knew was that Wii's entire landscape was about to be flipped upside down in a way that would send shockwaves through the wrestling world. Seth freakin' Rollins walked into Monday Night Raw with gold around his waist, a swagger in his step, and a fire in his eyes. But by the time he walked out, if you can even call it walking, after what went down, he was titleless, humiliated, and officially fired from WWE. And the man behind it all, none other than Triple H. This wasn't a storyline. This wasn't some work shoot to get a cheap pop or trend on social media. No, this was cold, calculated, and as real as it gets in the cutthroat business of professional wrestling. The message from Triple H was loud and clear: no one is untouchable. Not even Seth Rollins. It all started with a closed-door meeting earlier in the day. Multiple backstage sources reported seeing Rollins storming out of Triple H's office, visibly furious. Eyewitnesses claim he was muttering under his breath, throwing his hands in the air, and shouting, "I built this place. You can't treat me like this." Something was clearly boiling under the surface. By the time Seth's segment rolled around, the tension had spilled over. Rollins came out to the ring, but his usual cocky grin was replaced with a smirk that looked dangerous. You know when a guy smiles not because he's happy, but because he's seconds away from snapping. That was Seth Rollins. The fans were eating it up. They thought it was just Seth cutting another promo. But then his words got too real. "I've been carrying this company on my back while people like Roman Reigns take months off, while guys like Cody Rhodes get handed main events because they have a cute little story about finishing their daddy's work. And yet, the guy who shows up every single week, puts on match of the night, and holds this championship with pride, gets told he's replaceable." The crowd started to shift uncomfortably. This didn't feel scripted anymore. Then, without warning, Triple H's music hit. The game walked down to the ring. No smile, no water spit theatrics, no pandering. Just a cold, dead stare locked on Rollins. And when Triple H gets that look, you know something career-changing is about to happen. He took the mic, and the words that came out made the entire arena gasp. "Seth, you have been carrying this company. You are one of the greatest to ever step foot in this ring. But somewhere along the way, you started believing that you were bigger than WWE itself. And that, my friend, is where you went wrong." Rollins laughed it off at first, trying to play it cool, but Hunter didn't blink. He continued, "Effective immediately, you were stripped of the World Heavyweight Championship. And, Seth, you're done here. You're fired." The crowd lost its mind. Some people were booing, some were screaming, and others were in pure disbelief. Rollins' face went from smug to shock to pure rage in seconds. He dropped the mic, stepped toward Triple H, and you could almost feel the fight about to break out, until security swarmed the ring like a pack of wolves. The camera caught Rollins screaming, "This is my company. You can't do this to me." As he was dragged away, Triple H didn't even look at him. He just stood in the center of the ring, holding the now vacant title, while the fans rained down mixed chants of, "You suck," and, "Thank you, Hunter." The cameras might have cut to commercial after Seth Rollins was dragged out of the ring, but what happened backstage? Oh, that's where things got really ugly. Multiple insiders told WrestlingNewsCC that Rollins broke free from security the second he was behind the curtain. He stormed toward Triple H, who was still holding the World Heavyweight Championship in his hand, and shouted, "You just made the biggest mistake of your career, Hunter. I made this title mean something. You're nothing without me." Hunter didn't back down. If anything, he stepped forward, getting right in Seth's face. "Word is," he quietly replied, "titles will always matter. People like you, they come and go." And that's when Seth lost it. He shoved Triple H hard enough to send him stumbling into a lighting rig. The entire backstage crew froze. You could hear a pin drop. Production staff, agents, other wrestlers, everyone knew this wasn't just a heated conversation. This was a bridge burning in real time. Jamie Noble, Adam Pearce, and even Shawn Michaels rushed over to separate them. But Seth kept yelling over everyone. "You let Roman disappear for months, you hand Cody everything on a silver platter, and I'm the one getting punished. You're protecting your favorites. You're a coward." Sources say Roman Reigns himself was in the locker room at the time, preparing for a dark segment later in the show. And apparently, Roman heard every word. He came out of his locker room, looked Seth dead in the eye, and smirked. That only set Rollins off more. "You think this is funny, Roman? You're part of the reason this place is going to hell." Roman reportedly just shook his head and said, "Nah, you did that to yourself." Boom. Mic drop. Roman turned around and walked away, leaving Seth even more furious. And then This is where it gets even messier. Cody Rhodes shows up. According to witnesses, Cody had just finished an interview segment when he saw the commotion. Instead of ignoring it, Cody walked straight over to Triple H, put a hand on his shoulder, and loudly said, "Hunter, you did the right thing. This company needs leaders, not egos. Pookie, you already know." Seth heard that. He lunged toward Cody, screaming, "You think you're better than me because of your little sob story? You're nothing but a corporate pet." Security had to physically pin Seth to the wall to stop him from swinging. At this point, you could see his face turning red, veins popping, sweat dripping. This was a man seconds away from doing something that would get him blacklisted from the entire industry. Here's the kicker. Someone backstage was secretly recording the entire altercation on their phone. And just hours later, a 15-second clip started making its way around Twitter and Instagram. In the video, you can clearly see Seth screaming, "You'll regret this, Hunter," before shoving a guard away and storming down the hallway. Fans are already dissecting every frame of the footage, and hashtag Rollins fired started trending worldwide within minutes. Some are calling Triple H a hypocrite, others are saying Seth deserved it for disrespecting the company that made him a star. By Tuesday morning, the story had already escaped WWE's control. It wasn't just fan speculation anymore, actual receipts started showing up online. And when I say receipts, I mean screenshots of private messages that Seth Rollins allegedly sent to another major wrestling star just hours after his firing. The screenshots first appeared on a Wrestling Insider's Patreon page before being reposted all over Reddit and X, formerly Twitter. The messages were supposedly between Seth and none other than Jon Moxley. Yeah, that Jon Moxley. The man who jumped ship from WWE to AEW and never looked back. Here's what the alleged text said. "Seth Rollins, I'm done. I can't work under that guy anymore. He's not Vince. He's worse. At least Vince would stab you in the front. Moxley, I told you, man. It's a machine. They'll chew you up, spit you out. The sooner you realize you don't need them, the better. Seth Rollins, I've got offers. Khan's been calling. If Hunter thinks he can erase me, I'll make sure my first promo over there buries him so deep he'll never recover." The internet exploded. Fans immediately started debating whether this meant Seth was heading to AEW. Some claimed it was fake, others swore it lined up perfectly with his firing and the timing of his public silence. WWE went into full damage control mode. Multiple sources suddenly started telling wrestling journalists that the texts were fabricated and maliciously edited. But here's the thing, Pookie, they never outright denied that Seth and Moxley spoke. They only said the screenshots were misleading. Meanwhile, AEW's social media team was clearly having fun with the situation. During a Q&A with Tony Khan later that night, he, accidentally, let a smirk slip when a fan asked if AEW was interested in Seth Rollins. His only reply, "We're always interested in great wrestlers." Fans went crazy. TikTok edits started popping up showing Rollins walking out to Wild Thing in an AEW ring. Others imagined him reforming the Shield, but this time, on the other side of the wrestling war. Back inside WWE, things were even messier. Several superstars reportedly texted Seth privately to show support, but others were happy to see him gone. One unnamed veteran allegedly said, "Seth's an amazing worker, but his ego's been out of control for years. This was a long time coming. Oh, and remember the 15-second clip of Seth yelling at Triple H? Yeah, there's a full version that's almost a minute long, and insiders say it shows Seth name-dropping AEW in the middle of the fight. That clip hasn't leaked yet, but trust me, when it does, it's going to break the internet." By Wednesday afternoon, the rumors had gotten so wild that WWE could no longer keep quiet. The company announced an emergency press conference to address the Seth Rollins situation, and when WWE uses those exact words, you know something's about to go down. The press conference was held in Stamford, Connecticut, with the WWE logo plastered behind the podium. Journalists, photographers, and even a few superstars were in attendance. But all eyes were on one man, Paul Triple H Levesque. Hunter walked out in a sharp black suit, no tie, sleeves slightly rolled. His face was stone. No smirk. No best for business, corporate charm. Just a man ready to end a chapter and set the record straight. He adjusted the mic, scanned the room, and went straight in. Let's get one thing clear. This is not about punishing someone for speaking their mind. This is not about favoritism. This is about respect for the business, for the locker room, and for the fans. He paused. You could feel the tension in the room. Seth Rollins is one of the best in-ring performers I've ever seen. But in recent months, his conduct backstage, his unwillingness to work with certain talents, and his public disrespect toward the company have crossed lines that cannot be uncrossed. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But Hunter wasn't finished. On Monday night, Seth didn't just break company policy, he put his hands on me. That is grounds for immediate termination. I don't care if you're a rookie or a multi-time world champion, nobody puts their hands on an executive and keeps their job. Boom. There it was. Triple H had just confirmed what insiders had been whispering. Seth was fired not only for his attitude, but for physically shoving the boss. Then Hunter leaned in closer to the mic and delivered the real grenade. As for the rumors about AEW, Seth is free to do whatever he wants. But I'll say this, if he walks into another company and brings the same arrogance and lack of respect he's shown here, they'll regret it as much as we do. The room erupted with gasps. That was a shot straight across the bow at Tony Khan's promotion. Reporters immediately tried to fire questions at him. Was this a work? Would WWE ever rehire Seth? Did other top stars support the decision? But Hunter just gave a small smirk for the first time and said, "The WWE train keeps moving. One man doesn't stop the show." Then he walked off the stage, leaving everyone buzzing. Within minutes, the press conference clip was trending on every platform. Fans were split right down the middle, some saying Hunter was justified, others accusing him of trying to bury Seth's career out of spite. And then, Seth Rollins himself broke his silence. At exactly 8:03 p.m. that night, Seth tweeted, "I'd rather be fired for telling the truth than stay quiet and collect a paycheck. This isn't over." No emojis. No hashtags. Just those words. And within an hour, it had over 1 million likes and hundreds of thousands of comments. It was just after midnight when the wrestling world got another shock. Fans who were still awake, mostly scrolling through Twitter threads about Seth's firing, suddenly got a notification. At WWE Rollins is live. Nobody knew what to expect. Was this going to be a farewell? A promo? A breakdown? But the second people joined, they knew this wasn't WWE approved. Seth Rollins was sitting in a dimly lit room, still wearing the same hoodie he had on during Raw earlier that week. His hair was a mess, his eyes were bloodshot, and his voice was angry. "Alright, since everybody wants the truth, let's talk about the truth." He leaned closer to the camera, his tone low but boiling over. "Triple H wants you to believe this is about respect for the business. No. This is about control. This is about him deciding who gets to be the face of WWE, and guess what? It's never been me. Not in his eyes. No matter how many titles I win, no matter how many nights I put my body on the line, I was never his guy." The chat was blowing up. Thousands of fans spamming, "Tell us everything," and "expose them," in all caps. Seth didn't hold back. "You know why I snapped on Monday? Because before the show, I was told I'd be losing the World Heavyweight Championship to Cody Rhodes. And not at a pay-per-view. Not in a big, money-making main event. On free TV. Out of nowhere. Why? Because Cody's the golden boy. Because he sells merch. Because Hunter likes him. And when I said I wasn't okay with that, I got told, and I quote, 'If you don't like it, you can leave.'" He shook his head, smirking bitterly. "So yeah, I left. And before I left, I told Hunter to his face that one day, this company will regret sleeping on me. Guess we're just ahead of schedule." But then Seth went nuclear. "You think the locker room is all one big family? Please. Half the guys in there can't stand each other. Roman doesn't talk to anyone unless it benefits him. Cody's politicking behind the scenes like he's been here for 20 years. And don't even get me started on some of the women. Y'all would be shocked at the things I've seen." At that moment, over 150,000 people were watching live. The numbers were climbing every second. "I don't care if I get blackballed. I don't care if I never step foot in WWE again. I've got options. AEW, Japan. Hell, I'll wrestle in a high school gym before I go crawling back to Stamford." Then he said the line that fans are still quoting hours later. Triple H might have fired Seth Rollins, but he just unleashed Tyler Black. With that, Seth ended the stream. No goodbye. No fade out. Just gone. The fallout was immediate. Wrestling media went into overdrive. Screenshots from the live were everywhere. Fans were making compilation videos of his most savage lines, and the phrase, "Tyler Black," shot to